Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm on a roll here. I'm just making a few videos. I'm not sure when they're going to go up. I'm working on my backlog of books on my Kindle Fire for NetGalley titles that I hadn't gotten reviewed. And one of them, the one I'm going to talk about now, is Light Shines on Promise Lodge by Charlotte Hubbard. I will tell you that it's the fifth book in a series, but I find that with certain series, books can be read easily as standalones. Certain series, such as contemporary romance, Amish fiction, these books can be read as standalones because they always contain a singular story, and what makes them connected to series are the additional characters that are in the book. So I did read this book without reading the prior books in the series, but it was something that I didn't lose anything of. There are some characters that I wouldn't mind taking the time to learn more about, so I may even go back to my library and see if I can get some of the prior books. But in this book, it's talking about Annabelle Beachy. She lives at Promise Lodge, which is a unique place of Amish people, started off by women who stepped a little bit away from some of the traditional Amish ways, and they're self-sufficient women who own their own businesses. Some of these women have married even Mennonite men, or they are singular, they're business women without having marriage mates, so they're progressive Amish. Well, and they still believe in a lot of the traditional ways, but they are progressive, and so mostly the single women live at Promise Lodge, and any of the men that are part of this community live in cabins, for the sake of solid proper behavior, I guess I'll say. Well, someone arrives at the property. His name is Clayton King. He says that he is a bishop and he is there on an errand from the Council of Bishops to determine whether or not the residents of Promise Lodge are far too progressive, and if they've stepped away from the Amish ways to the point where they need correction and discipline, and if they have to report back, or how he will report back to the Council of Bishops. Meanwhile, Annabelle's husband, who left her years before, has shown back up and says, "I want you back, wife." And he is not happy with the fact that where they were living, when he went back home, she was no longer there. Well, he tracked her down to Promise Lodge, and now he wants her back. So the bishop, Clayton, has his own opinions about whether or not Annabelle can accept her husband back, and Annabelle herself wants to know whether or not she can accept him back. His name is Phineas, by the way, and so they've got to iron that out. It's a very good Amish fiction book. I wouldn't necessarily call it a romance. It would be obviously it's inspirational fiction, but it would be more along the lines of women's fiction if it was to be stuck in a subgenre. But I think it was an excellent book, and even though the book came out in March, I'm just getting to it. I've got, I think, close to 500 NetGalley books to read, so I will always read some current books, some future books, and some past books. I will continue to mix it up, and then this way I will work through my backlog. October has been a very difficult reading month for me, so the big, huge TBR that I set up at the beginning of the month barely has a dent in it, but this is one of the ones that I read, and I just wanted to just pop in a quick video review of it. I have not written the literal physical review yet, but at least I've got this review done, and hopefully you'll be able to say, hey, I want to read this book. So the link for this book will be in the description box below, and hopefully you'll decide to take a peek at it. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.